All right, hi everybody. Let's get started. All right, I'm Dr. Kevin. I'm the founder of Truth Family Chiropractic back in 2002. And today's the most important visit that we have. We're going to go over some life-transforming information about your health. Some of you may know it, some of you may not. So just ask open ears as we go through this information. But I'm really curious who woke up this morning and said, I'm so damn excited to come to my Better Results Faster workshop at my chiropractor. Everybody? Everybody raise a hand? Yes, that's good. That's good. No, in all seriousness, I just want to thank you and appreciate your time. This is the most important time that we spend together. In the next several minutes, we're going to go over this information, the most effective, the most natural way to be healthy. I don't want you guys to be, suffering, number one, with pain, discomfort, and then all the health problems that people have, heart disease, cancer, diabetes, neurogenic problems, autoimmune. We want you to be as healthy as possible. All right. So, you guys committed to be here. I want you guys, engaged. The best people or the most people, the people that have the best results are the people that engaged. So I'm going to ask you, to engage. I'm going to ask you some questions. Example would be two people go to the gym. We're at the gym and two people, one guy's like, he's sprinting on the treadmill. He gets down, he's squatting, he's bench pressing, he's doing all this stuff, sweating like crazy. And the other guy's over here on his phone, talking to everybody, not doing anything, and then he's interrupting people's workouts, and then every 15 minutes he'll go and do a lift. Who's going to get the better results? Yeah, the first guy, right? And that's what I've been doing these talks for a long time. The people that engage get the best results. So I'm going to ask you to think about your health. You don't have to think like me, but think about your health as we go through these questions. And then when I've been to a ton of seminars, and I always feel like I get the best out of the message when I know the messenger. So is it okay if I share my story on why I'm even standing up here? My story starts a long time ago. I didn't grow up getting adjusted. I was a wrestler in college, so I'd be out there wrestling. My neck would get jammed back, and I'd get a thing called a stinger, where my left arm would just fall to my side. And it hurt like heck. Pain shooting out my fingers, and it was happening multiple times a day. And I wasn't very smart back then, so I didn't do anything about it. I was just eating ibuprofen like crazy, sometimes 10, 15 a day, sleeping pills at night just so I could sleep. But eventually it got so bad where my left pec shriveled up and my left tricep shriveled up and they were gone. I couldn't even do a push-up. I'd go down and couldn't get back up. My left side was so weak. So at that point, performance was going in the tank. I thought, well, I probably should do something. So I go to the medical doctor. What do you think I got at the medical doctor? Pills. I got more drugs. Muscle relaxers, pain relievers, anti-inflammatories. Now, I get it. If it's really bad, and you can't sleep, or if I walk outside and a car hits my leg and compound fracture and go and have surgery and don't come back in here, get to the surgeon's office, you might need something after that. I get that, but I didn't like the way it made me feel, so I stopped taking those. Had some imaging done on my neck. I had 3 herniated discs. And I go to the surgeon's office. So I'm in the surgeon's office, and his recommendation for me was, you're going to have surgery. We're going to cut the front of your neck open, pull everything open. We're going to have 3 to 5 vertebrae that are going to be fused up. And his prognosis was, well, you're done wrestling and you're not going to be able to move your neck for the rest of your life. This is the worst case I've ever seen for a 20-year-old. And I was like, and side note, he wasn't very nice. So I was like, I'm out of here. I'm not going to let him do surgery on me. So, the next day was when chiropractic was introduced to me. My teammate goes, just go to the chiropractor. I was like, what's chiropractic? I had no idea. what chiropractic, but I was desperate at that point, like a lot of people are when they come in. They've been to other doctors, they've been all over the place, and it hasn't helped them yet. So that's where I was. And I was like, hey, if it helped him, let's go. So I remember I go down my first adjustment. It hurt really bad, but it felt so good at the same time. And I could, in that moment, I felt energy in my arm again. I was like, yes, this is what's going to get me better. So I got obviously very excited about chiropractic. The other side note to the story is where I went to undergrad, they're like, their claim to fame in their biology department was we get 95% of people into, guess what, medical school. So I'm like 3 steps in over here into the process, taking the test, accepted into a couple schools, and in my brain it was just like, chiropractic, this is what's helping me. I'm going to chiropractic school. I don't want to give drugs to everybody. So that's my story on how I started. And if you look at my X-ray here, this is my lateral view on the X-ray. You guys have all seen your X-rays. I have, my neck curve is only 24 degrees. Anybody remember what normal is? 45, yes, yeah, 45, right? And I'm halfway there. Am I ever going to be perfect? I'm not, because I have phase 2 degeneration in my lower neck, C5, 6, 7. Those discs they're damaged in there because of the stuff that happened. But it didn't start when I was at 20 years old. It started when I was a kid. Anybody grew up on a farm? Any farm kids? We had cattle. Mama cow just had her calf. I was out at 6 years old. I was out in the cow yard. I'd been out there forever. Nothing ever happened, but our dog was out there that day, and the mama cow was a little ornery, and he was messing with her. She put her, hoof in the ground, chased that dog. Guess where the dog ran? Right behind me. And so before I can get out of the way, here she comes, and she just goes bam with her head, puts her head down, launches me across the cow yard, came down right on the top of my head. And I would wake up in the middle of the night screaming a lot when I was a kid because what hurt? My neck. First stinger, high school football, hit the running back, boom. My arm just shut down. I thought I was paralyzed, but then it comes back, and then you're back on the field, and you just keep going. And I let it go for several years until I got so weak that I couldn't even do a push-up before I knew about it. I have great parents, but I always tell them, if there's one thing that you should have did when I was little, get me to a chiropractor to get my spine fixed. Because now it's 25, but when I first had my first X-ray done, and I went to 2 chiropractors, they got me better. Pain went away, felt strength came back, felt great, but they never did any testing on me, and I didn't know my neck was still jacked up. So I go to chiropractic school, I get my first X-ray done, my neck curve is still backwards, so it should be like this. It was negative 13 degrees still. No pain, strength came back, enough pressure was released that my body got the symptoms gone, but my neck was still very subluxated. And at that point I was like, we need to make sure that we get this corrected and keep that going in the right direction. Instead of waiting, if I would have never had an X-ray, I would have never known that it was still jacked up. And I wish those other docs, the first 2 docs, they helped me a ton, but I wish they would have did some testing on me and said, hey, your neck is still jacked up, you still need to come in. Because if you remember that graph, the corrective care, the maintenance, and then the red line, that's who I was. I started out on that red line. Pain was gone. I was done. And I still love chiropractic. And, it got me to school. But what I learned was you want to have optimal function throughout your whole life, not just when the pain's gone. And if you look at the nervous system, what controls everything in your body, that's your nervous system. So your brain up here, that spinal cord that comes down, those nerves that go across your, that power, that innate intelligence that goes across those nerves, every cell, tissue, organ, everything in your body. So for, let's say, your heart to beat, your lungs to breathe, stomach to digest food, your eyeballs to see me right now, everything has to be connected. Okay? If it gets cut, we got the spine right here. If it gets cut, boom, what happens? What's the P word? Paralyzed, right? Now, thankfully, that doesn't happen very often, but because we're so well protected. We have the vertebrae that protects our spine right here. You have the skull that protects your brain, right? If we didn't have the skull, we wouldn't live very long because the brain would get damaged. But then we have the vertebrae that protects the spinal cord. But if you look at these between each vertebrae, you have a yellow nerve that comes out. These things are exposed. So if you get out of alignment, if you have subluxation, what's that do to the nerve? Pinches it. Now in my case, it was a disc, that soft disc space in between the vertebrae that came out and just crushed. It was crushing that nerve. Every time I did that, I'd feel it down my arm. So, but there's a lot of other things going on. You have the blocked vertebrae, the disc space, in the hole where the nerves come out, right there. You have blood vessels, lymphatic tissue, fatty cells, ligaments and tendons that connect everything. 5 layers of thick muscles right back here for motion, stabilization, and protection. So there's a lot of stuff going on in your spine. Who goes to the eye doctor? Every year, once a year, maybe twice. Dentist? Who goes to the dentist? Yeah, get your teeth checked. Why do you do that?
Preventative.
Preventative, right? Why doesn't everybody know what their spine looks like? Because you can't see it. And until you know why, everybody should get that, have your spine, healthier, because it runs your whole body. People just don't know that. Dentists, when you go to the dentist, they put those bite wings in, and you got to bite down on them. It kind of hurts sometimes when you do that, but they do that because they're looking at x-rays, looking at below the skin and the tooth. They want to see what's going on. That's why we do the tests, so we can see the scans and get your x-rays taken. Okay, does that make sense? All right, so question, do we live in a healthy or sick country? What do you think? Sick, yes, and it's getting worse. We have been practicing for 23 years, and seems like I keep telling the same story instead of saying, let's get healthier, and we're not. There's pockets of people that are getting healthier, but who spends the most money? What country? On drugs? On healthcare? U.S. It's a $3 trillion industry over here. Trillions. Big industry. Do you think we should probably be number 1 in the world in our health? But where are we? Out of the top 40 industrialized nations, we're number 38. Not good. So do drugs make us healthier? Will they treat a symptom? Yes, but they do not make you healthier. That healing comes from you. It happens no other way. You are responsible for making your body healthier. Are you as healthy as you want to be? How about your family? Kids right now, 50% of kids have a chronic illness. It's not okay. It's not okay with me. So we want to help family and children. I mean, I love you guys. I love the adults, but love the kids. They're the people that we want to make sure that grow up really healthy. 3 reasons why we're in a health crisis. First one is you got to take responsibility. People don't take responsibility for their own health. People treat their cars and their houses better than themselves. This is your house. You only have one. You have to take responsibility for your health. Number 2, you get the wrong definition of health, because everybody thinks that if you feel good, you're healthy. But how does a heart disease feel until you have the heart attack? A lot of times you don't know. How about cancer? You don't know you have cancer in your body until it hits a nerve or hits something that now it's big enough. You don't feel it. So you can't base your health on how you feel. If you take the word health right there and you drop off the TH, what's left? Heal. So it's not how you feel, it's how your body's healing. And that healing comes from inside you. If I cut my arm open, it's going to bleed, it's going to scab up, and you're going to have brand new skin. Healing comes from inside you. If your skin can heal up, can your heart heal up? Can your guts heal up? Can your spleen heal up? Whatever it is, it can. We just got to stop doing what caused the problem. And then the third one, I'm going to tell you at the end. So if I forget, make sure I tell you what the third one is. So this saying right here: if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. So we want to change. If anybody needs to change, we're going to talk about bad habits in a little bit. If we need to change any of those bad habits so that your body can function and heal a lot better. So 10 questions that you must ask if you want to be healthy. Number 1, are you designed to be healthy or sick? What do you think? We're designed to be healthy. God designed us perfectly in His image and likeness. Like, we are designed to be perfect, not sick. But you saw, country right now, healthy is normal, unhealthy is abnormal. Our country right now is sick. We want to get people healthy. Is your body smart or stupid? Or smart? We're very smart. You have an innate intelligence in your body that runs from your brain through all your nervous system. Like if you study the nervous system and your immune system and all of the systems, the number one thing that controls everything is what? This thing right here, your back. The most important thing in your body. If that goes bad, you know, your organs are going to stop functioning correctly. Muscles, like me, shriveled everything up. That's how much pressure is there. Not a good situation. What is the most important system in staying healthy? The nervous system. Okay? And how do you adapt to those, deal with the stresses? Anybody got any stresses going on? Double hands? We all have stresses, right? So how does your body respond to those stresses? Is it a chronic stress? Because guess what? The nerves control all the chemicals in your body. Just talk about stress, adrenaline and cortisol. Where does it start? It starts in your brain. It releases chemicals, from the hypothalamus to the pituitary gland down to the adrenal glands. And your nervous system releases that. And then you have feedback loops, throughout your body on every system. Pretty amazing. And if everything's running correctly, is the body going to get sick? No, it's going to stay healthy. So we have a paper clip here. So this would be easy analogy. The brain and the body down there. If you take that paper clip, let's say you have a really big one, and you have all your outfits on there, all your dresses, and all those dresses are on there, and they're going to stay on. Once you unclip it, turn it upside down, what's going to happen to all the dresses? They're all going to fall down. So that's what chiropractic does, is keep that paper clip, or paper clip, keep it connected. We want the connection going throughout your body and not getting unplugged at all. Number 4, what protects your nervous system? So we talked about the skull protects your brain, the spine protects your spinal cord. There's stress again. Is your life stressful? We break it up into the stress into thoughts, toxins, and traumas. We call it the 3 T's. We can add a 4th T on there, technology. Anybody do this all day long? We all do it. But, thoughts. I've been practicing for 23 years. I think the biggest cause of subluxation is right here, right in between. How do you talk to yourself? If you talk to your neighbor like you talk to yourself, would they like you? No. So positive thoughts, no stinking thinking. Okay, got to be positive thinking. Huge. Science proves that beyond a shadow of a doubt. What you tell yourself, rewiring your brain and your communication with yourself is number 1. Then there's toxins, traumas. There's macro traumas. Macro traumas would be car accident, boom, get hit. Micro traumas would be sitting, okay? Sitting down like this, phone, your posture. If I'm leaning over like this over 8 hours a day for 30 years, do you think you're gonna have subluxation in your spine? Yeah, definitely. You're gonna have problems. The most obvious ones are the major traumas that happen, but it's the micro traumas every single day that's gonna cause problems. So the 3 T's, thoughts, toxins, and traumas are gonna cause problems. There's the safety pin cycle. So what is all the stress doing to your body, causing subluxation, where these nerves get pinched, the spine gets out of alignment, causes subluxation, can affect your muscles, tissues, organs, everything in your body. All right, what's a real cause of health problems, subluxation? Over time, it's a progressive problem that happens. It's the most common condition in the spine. We talked about paralysis. Now, thankfully, that doesn't happen, very often because we are so well designed. The most common is those subluxation, those dysfunction. Over time, they're going to manifest as symptoms and conditions. It could be digestive problems, reflux, heartburn, constipation, blood pressure issues. Why do most people come in? Because headaches, some kind of pain syndrome. Could be headaches, migraine, could be in the back, could be in the front. Those sinuses get all clogged up. Neck pain, numbness, tingling down the extremities, upper back pain. A lot of reflux, stomach issues. You eat something, it comes right back up. That's not normal. Could be lower back, sciatic nerve, pain shooting down your leg. Those are some of the most common things that happen, but it's so cool when people come in, after they've been getting adjusted for a few weeks or a month or however long it is. And they go, "Hey doc, I was experiencing heartburn before. Do you think this could have anything to do with that?" Or, "I love babies when you adjust them, constipated, if they're colicky. Babies are a lot different to adjust than adults, but you just work that parasympathetic system, that sacrum and the atlas, and they're filling the diaper before they get out of the office, So you see some of that visceral organ function that does a lot better. 5 essentials. So we really focus on your whole life. I can adjust you, every single day, but if you leave here and you're having 2 liters of Mountain Dew and, stopping at McDonald's every day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, do you think you're going to get healthy? No. So it's partnership. You gotta put good things in your body. So that's the second one, is the nutrition. If you feed your body well, your body can function a lot better. Mindset, we talked about that. Your mind, oxygen, putting oxygen throughout your body. Movement, exercise. Anybody love exercising? Anybody go to the gym? Yeah? It's awesome. Yes. You got to get yourself talked into it, right? Like this morning, I got up at 5:30. We have a Peloton at home, and I was like, "Oh man, I got to get up and get on that thing." But once you start rolling, then it gets a lot better. So you got to move your body, and then minimizing toxins. We live in a toxic world. If we can minimize that, so part of our practice is, looking at everything. We have Miss April here. She is our functional health specialist. That a lot of people come in and they are having visceral problems. They've been diagnosed with something, and they're just doing the drug route. And a lot of people don't want the drugs. They want another option. So we really specialize in just changing your diet, getting rid of the Mountain Dews for a while, and seeing how much better you feel. But then we also do some higher level functional testing, urine tests, so we can see nutritional values. You're either toxic in something or deficient in something. If you're right in the middle, everything's going to work good. We do hormones, so urine, cheek swab, spit tests. So we do functional health testing so that we can see actually what's going on and then fix it with nutrition, either your diet or if we need to supplement to fill in the gaps versus the medication that always has a side effect. All right, so that's part of the process here. Part of your care is to meet with her. That's part of your care. For one visit, we have you fill out a functional systems analysis, and we're going to text that to you today. Fill that out, and then you get to meet with her and go through if there's anything else that we can help you with. Some people are like, yes, I really need to work on that part of my life. Some people are like, no, I'm good. Maybe just get on vitamin D and omega-3 fatty acids. So you guys would be texted that. That'll come right to your text inbox before you guys leave today. And then number 8, what causes subluxation? I talked about those macro traumas, micro traumas, and those bad habits. Just sitting all day long. Sitting is a new smoking. I don't know if you've heard of that before, but what do people do? 8-10 hours a day, they're sitting on the computer all day long. Bad posture, and their eyes are bugging out on them and causing subluxation. So how do you know if you have subluxation? That's why we do the testing. We're going to look at posture. We're going to get in there and palpate, see where those tender spots are, where the muscle spasms are. We're going to do the nerve scans, an EMG, to see how much stress that you have, and then get the x-ray taken. So we can see how long it's been in there, the subluxation, how long it'll take to get better, what is the damage, what phase are you in. So we analyze that. We go down, measure things to the millimeter so we can see exactly what's going on in your spine. What should you do if you have subluxation? What do you think? Get adjusted, right? Yeah, get under care, get adjusted. Introduce the 3-legged stool concept. If you have 3-legged stool, if you take one of the legs away, what's going to happen? It's going to fall over. So all these, you have to do all 3 of them, adjustments and rhythm, okay? And you guys are doing a great job on keeping your adjustments. Every adjustment builds on each other, so that we want it to keep taking 3 steps forward and no steps back. And that's the rhythm. If you can keep that rhythm going, that's going to make it a lot better. Corrective exercises, which we're going to give you today. Doing your homework at home. People that do the exercises, when we do the re-exams, what do you think we see? Better results. That's right. And then breaking bad habits. And we'll talk about these individually, but we want to break bad habits on what you're doing. Anybody have any bad habits that they need to break? Yeah. One of mine, back when I was 20 and not very smart, was one of bad habit was chewing tobacco. Had to get rid of that. So everybody probably has a bad habit, but we'll talk about that individually. So here's your exercise sheet that we'll go over. You'll have which ones are marked that we want you to do. There's a QR code with videos on there. So you can take your phone, get on there, the ones that we mark, look at those videos if you need to. But we do a thing called spinal molding, where we're going to put these rolls. The bigger one is going to go on your neck, right in the base of your neck, and you're going to lay on these. And the small one goes in the small of your back, right there, right above your waistline. Pretty easy exercise. You just lay like that. Okay. Ideally, if you can sleep on these, that's where we want to get you to. But initially, if you can do 5-10 minutes, push them out, go to sleep, and keep working on those every single day. A lot of people really like to sleep on these. And then the pelvic wedges, if there's any hip rotation, leg deficiencies, we're going to use the hip wedges to help with that. So we're going to put one on the top, and we'll tell you which side is high and which one is low. So it kind of points down towards your glute there, and the other one's going to come up right there, and they're going to point towards each other, right on your sit bone right there, right on your butt. And again, just lay on these for 15 minutes a night. You don't think they're going to do much, but they will. We're trying to change these big stabilization muscles down here, so you'll be able to feel those. A couple more active exercises that we'll have you do. Some people will do a chest expander like this. Some people do a praying mantis like that. We do a wall exercise where we're squeezing back against the wall, 3 different levels. That's all in the video. Hamstring, psoas, or hip flexor stretches are very important also. Okay, so we'll give you those sheets when you guys get out of here. And then just a couple examples I want to go through with you. If you look at this x-ray over here, what's that look like? Is that curved or straight? Straight up and down, yeah. So she's got C5 and 6, she's got phase 2 degeneration right there, 100% loss of curve. So female in her mid-40s, she had a rollover car accident as a teenager, and she started to get migraine headaches. What did she get put on right away? Drugs. Yep, they filled her up with drugs. Didn't know anything at the time. She didn't have any side effects yet. But she ends up having 4 kids, gets married, have 4 kids. After the 4th one, her health just starts tanking. She develops ulcerative colitis. She's got female issues, PCOS. So she's taking a bunch of medication for that. Ulcerative colitis, she's on autoimmune drugs. Those things are crazy expensive. Still taking the migraine headaches. Now she's going to the hospital emergency room once a week because she has pain is so bad she has got to get a shot in the butt. Energy's in the tank, like she can't get out of bed in the morning. She drinks caffeine, like going out of style, goes to work, come home at 4 o'clock, and she's so exhausted she goes to bed. So at that point she is like, she's just not doing good for anybody. But her husband's in getting adjusted and stops me and says, "Hey, can I talk to you about my wife?" Tells me that story. What do you think I said? Well, let's get her in here. What are we waiting for? Well, her big block was, I don't believe in chiropractic. Her parents just said, don't go to the chiropractor. But she was getting so desperate that she needed to do something. So her husband brought her in. And you can see the subluxation there. She's got a curvature in her upper back right there, 10-degree curve. And then 11-degree curve in her lower back. So she has subluxation going on. She was nervous as all get out when that first adjustment because she was just scared. But she let me adjust her before I went over x-rays. And then going over x-rays, she had told her husband, I don't think my headaches are bad. She still didn't believe it, but she didn't think her headaches were as bad. But her big block was finances. Because just take a guess on their budget for her every single month on her meds. Just take a guess.
$300.
300? Way more. 4,000 a month. Autoimmune drug. And yeah, insurance wasn't covered, and that was after insurance coverage. So in her mind, she was like, we can't put anything on top of what we're doing because, you know, we're stretched already. We're barely making it. We're both working. 4 kids, you know, we're barely making it. But in the husband's mind was, what if we could get rid of some of that? And so they kind of got it figured out. Their insurance is an HMO, out-of-network plan. We're not in every network with insurance companies because if we signed a contract with everybody, then who do I work for? Them, okay? I don't want to work for them. I work for you guys, okay? Now, if you have coverage, we are in network with some. If you have coverage, awesome. But, you know, with their case, they did not have any coverage. So they got on the discount program and they figured it out. They're like, let's just put it on a monthly plan and let's get it done. We were seeing her intense. I was going 4 times a week with her to start out because she was so bad. But over time, guess what started going away? Headaches, not getting shots all the time. And she just kept getting better and better. And finally she decided, enough caffeine, I'm done with that. She had a little hiccup there with caffeine headaches, got through that. But by the time she was done from July to December, she was like, she got off everything. She's like, I'm done with the drugs. I'm feeling so much better. And through that time, now how much money are they saving? With not getting rid of the autoimmune drug. Tons of money. They're like, this is awesome. This is great. The husband's the accountant, so he was really excited, but who cares about that because the kids got their mom back. You know, everybody, she's not coming home at 4 o'clock and going to sleep. She's going to their games and all their activities and, you know, just doing what she needed to do. So huge change. And I use her for example because her scans, she had a really good change in her scans. But her x-ray had a small amount. Just a 2-degree change in her neck. It's still straight up there. She had 2-degree improvement. But let's say she just stopped getting adjusted. What do you think would happen to her? It's going to go back. Yeah. And she does not want to go back to where she was. I'm going to go to this one. So this is a 7-year-old little boy, Raleigh. See his curvature here, 14-degree curve, went down to a 7. Okay, and they brought him. He's a little wrestler guy. You know, just typical boy. But mom and dad just wanted to bring him in and to see he didn't have any symptoms going on. They just wanted to get him evaluated to see if there was anything going on. So if they would have just left this, like the 14-degree curve as a 7-year-old, that's forecast out. Now he's 37. Do you think he might have some problems? Maybe some low back pain, some sciatic, maybe GI issues because of that curvature right there and how imbalanced he was compared to now that he's a lot straighter. Look at his shoulders and his pelvis, how much better it is. Now he's 37 over here. Do you think he's going to be functioning better? Yeah, he's not going to have the problems that he did. And he didn't have any symptoms. And that's why it's so important because you don't know unless you've had an x-ray on your spine to see what it looks like. One more case, Kinnick. So look at this scan, how much, 4,030 went down to 199. Huge. And I'm just going to have Kinnick share his story. Let's see if this works. There we go.
I started coming to EPG chiropractic because I had some really bad stomach pain and I tried a lot. We tried a lot of things. I remember I was on like the highest dose an adult dose of omeprazole and it just wasn't working. Well, my stomach pain was so bad. Sometimes I literally couldn't make it to school sometimes. One year I had to have a trash can next to me in school because I would spit up so much. It was that bad. I wasn't always nervous, trying to see a chiropractor. I just never thought it would work because Out of all the stuff we tried, it never worked, and I thought there was just nothing, man. And then I started to come here, and then it was just like, wow, honestly, it's amazing. I started feeling relief after about 5 or 4 months. I remember the first couple months, I could slowly start to see myself improving. And I think after 6 months, I fully stopped my medication of omeprazole, just because I just felt so good. And maybe 8 months, it was pretty much completely gone. My stomach pain was just gone. Dr. Miller always tells me just how important exercise is, and I know a lot of people say that, but I mean, he just gives it in detail, and it makes me really just feel like I gotta go do that and stuff. And he always gives me insight on like what to eat and limitations and everything, and it's really helped a lot on my knowledge about my health. Where would I be now if I didn't get results? I really don't know, honestly. I don't know what I would do without EP True, honestly, because it's changed so much. I think I would be in the same spot as I was in first, second, third, fourth grade, having a trash can next to me and on omeprazole and stuff. And I just really thankful for what it's done for me. And I feel just much better overall, and I feel more healthy and everything.
So Kinnick, it was his grandmother that stopped me after her adjustment and said, hey, can I talk to you about my grandson Kinnick? Puking during class, no, been to doctors, specialists, nobody could help him. Nothing was helping him. So his backstory, birth, forceps, they had to yank him out. He was getting stuck. They yanked him out. He was subluxated from day one, ear infections, antibiotics the first 3 years of his life. He was colicky. They had to hold him. Mom and Dad one of them had to stay up and hold him all night to get any sleep for him. So he was a tough baby. Like doctor after doctor after doctor, nothing ever figured out. And I was like, yes, bring him in. Let's check him out. And that was his scan. Uh-oh. Okay, there we go. That was it. That first scan, that was his scan. Severe subluxation. And he started getting better. And all of a sudden it was gone. And one day they were coming in for their adjustments. The whole family ended up getting under care, and Mom was like, she had this scowl on her face, and I was like, what the heck? What's going on? She was like, we just came from the pediatrician's office. And the pediatrician said, hey, it looks like the drugs are finally working on Kinnick. And she was just like, no, we stopped those a long time ago. We went to the chiropractor. We got his spine adjusted, and his nerves working better, and he's good. He's good to go now. What do you think the pediatrician said? You're crazy. The pediatrician actually said, you're crazy for taking your son to a chiropractor. And he's in junior high now. And it made her mad. And she looked right at him and said, why didn't you tell me that there was something else that could help my baby? And he had no answer. And he just said, you're still crazy for taking, it didn't end well. And that's what she was mad about. But that day when she said that hit me right in the gut that day, because I remember when Grandma came in and she showed me his picture. We got a brand new grandson, Kinnick. And I never once asked her how he was doing, how the family was doing, if anybody was having any problems, until she brought it up again. And so ever since that day, we've just made policy that the family gets checked, gets evaluated. For the x-ray and scan, normally it's a 240 value. But we do it for friends and family, do it for 50. Heck, if you go to the hospital and got a full spine x-ray, what do you think? I mean, that's going to be $1,000, $2,000. So that's very, important. Get him checked. Just like little Raleigh. They would have never known that he had a curvature, and that could have turned into scoliosis, turned into things that were much worse. So get the family checked. When you guys check out, Danielle and Justin will help you get anybody in your house, but spouses and kids, get them scheduled so they can get checked. Okay. Remember I talked about the third thing, why we're in health crisis, and the third thing is procrastination. People don't take action on their health. Don't wait until there's a crisis. And that's what people do. That's what we're taught to do. That's what I was taught to do, and I wish I would have done something a lot sooner. So don't procrastinate. Take action right now. Make sure that the family, 3 things that you're going to get today, you're going to get your exercises, exercise sheet. Start working on those. We'll follow up with those when you come in. see how you're doing on those. The functional systems analysis, you'll be getting a text. Make sure to open that and fill that out. With that, make sure you have about 15-20 minutes. Do it all at once, because if you go halfway through and stop, you'll have to do it all over again. So just kind of heads up on that. And then that'll trigger, once you get that done, that'll trigger an appointment with April, our functional health systems specialist. And then the third thing is get your family checked, or get them scheduled up so we can get them evaluated. So I thank you for your time. I know we probably got to get you guys adjusted before you head back to work or whatever you need to do. So what rooms do they need to go to? And they got numbers already?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys already got it. So, all right, let's go.